This is BleedTV, the only podcast of today's best shows and movies. I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
I'm Cash.
And it is good to be back. And tonight we are going to have, Mayans M.C. This is FX's new show from Kirk Sutter.
And Jake drove up on his hog. I mean, it was great seeing him.
Yeah. Some hog. That moped. That's cool. Yeah. Way to rock, bro.
Hey, it's like in Memphis. We got those little scooters now. It's
the
great.
difference is yin, yin, yin. It doesn't have the same performance.
No, it does not.
As we go there. But, I don't want to waste any time. I've been waiting long enough for the Sutter drought to finally be over with, and it's over, and so I just kind of know what are y'all thoughts, man? We made a point not to talk to each other about this before we got on the mic, so hit me with the truth here.
Who wants to go first?
For me, it was a solid episode. There's a lot that I wish was still going on with it. Like, there was a lot that they just didn't hit with, but I'm excited to see where the story leads us.
I liked most of it, and there's some things whether it's this show or other shows, I can never get past. They made a few minor nitpicks that I just loathed. And there's a few actors in there that are a little weak, but overall, I give it a B so far. And it probably could have managed an A, but there's some things in there we'll talk about.
There's some meat left on the bone, I guess is the best way to put it for me.
When I talk to a lot of people, and this is my opinion of the situation, is that I enjoyed the show because I felt like I was getting an SOA style show back. The motorcycles, the way it's filmed, how people carry themselves, the macho attitude, all that kind of stuff. But the deal is that I was so attached to the characters on Sons of Anarchy that when I went into this episode, with this first one, I was expecting to be able to latch on to really charismatic characters quick and to be able to say, gosh, I'm getting that scratch, that itch is being scratched. You know what I mean? And I guess it was just kind of like, okay, it's an acquired taste, because this isn't Tig, this isn't Chibs, it isn't those people you just fell in love with from the other show. And I have to realize, this is not Sons of Anarchy. This is a completely different show.
You didn't necessarily fall in love with them immediately on Sons of Anarchy either. I
did, and so I do remember the first episodes of Sons of Anarchy back in the day, and I fell in love with the show immediately. So I think a lot of people went into the show with huge expectations, and that's very difficult to meet that, especially when you come to something new. And none of these characters are from the other show besides Alvarez. Of course, a little sneak, drop in of a little certain character. But I think when I talk to a lot of people on social media, and I'm a part of like 6 different groups on Facebook and everything like that, that's constantly going back, and I got that as kind of the norm of what the conversation is that it's good, but I'm missing something, or there's something was a little different, or whatever it was, and that's kind of how I came with it. So I'm kind of like Jake. I'm like a B+, A- kind of guy, because I love the storyline. If you put it this way, you take the new characters away, where we don't have to digest new characters and fall in love with anybody, and you bring Sons of Anarchy characters back, or different people you've already known and fell in love with, and you put them in this story situation.
They hit us. I think
it's a completely different situation. And so I look at it as, how was the story written? I really, really enjoyed the story.
Yes.
Really, really enjoyed it. The characters, I'm just going to have to start falling in love with. The first guy I'm falling in love with is the one, who's got the quick whip, and he, drops the body. Oh, sorry about the,
Coco.
Coco.
That guy is stealing the show.
Exactly. And so, that right there, I'm like, who's the closest character of Son of Anarchy you can compare him to? I'm like, okay, that's the next Tig.
Yeah.
That's the guy who,
he's very much Tig and everything. And he's got that same, slimy, dirty feel. You're like, I don't think I should like you, but I really like everything that you're doing.
Well, the bottom line is, if he starts liking a dude that's dressed as a woman later in the episode series, I'm going to get pissed off. But anyway.
That's Tig.
Yeah.
Y'all are talking about, not Chibs.
We said Tig.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure.
Okay. I'm just throw this remote at you. Anyway, the reality of it is that we cannot compare it. We've got to stop comparing.
Some of them we can compare and everything, because I do think he's just rewriting some of the same characters.
This prospect, Easy, is supposed to be Jax's replacement.
Yes.
It's supposed to be that way.
Well,
and they made the most found the most Latin looking Charlie Hunnam as far as I'm concerned. Like they got pretty close to me as far as even the little chin scruff.
Yeah.
Little bit of a light mustache, you know.
They made sure he got his shirt off. Do you get the gun?
Had
the
to
gun
get his
show?
shirt off for a second.
Yeah, no, for no reason. It was like
because we all take our shirt off and we get a little splatter on it. You know what I'm saying?
I want to be dealing with a dead body and blood. Let me make sure
I get some skin contact.
Bottom line is that if you've gotten splattered, then what's it matter already?
Yeah.
The reality is you take the shirt off to prevent it getting something on.
Yeah.
it.
I can understand the jacket. Okay, you know.
Yeah, but judging by the size of this human, HIV was out of the question. But no, what I'll say about this, and that was kind of strange, and it stood out to me, and this is one of my issues I have with it. I didn't feel like a single character on the show said more than one or two sentences at a time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like no one went on a big speech.
Dialogues were like
short and sweet.
blah blah blah. Blah, blah,
It was
blah.
a very visual show.
Blah, blah, blah.
No one was able to stretch their acting chops.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there was some stuff in there I was like, ooh, that was weak.
Yes.
You know,
you know who had the most acting? The most lines? It was probably Miguel, you know, the cartel. He had some of the longest lines. He's the one who questioned the Samoan. He's the one that, so on. And in my opinion, he's the weakest actor in the show. Michael Pino, you know, he did Law and Order. He did those shows like that or so on, and he did okay in that kind of stuff, you know, with that. But he does not carry the same kind of weight of looking like a cartel leader to me. To me, he is. I have nothing against Michael Pino. I think he's a great guy. Like I said, I loved him in Law and Order and everything like that. But something about his look and the way he carries just doesn't feel like.
That's what I'm saying. It might not be his acting chops. It could be how they're writing the character, how they're dressing the character. All these things. All this stuff seems very generic to me. Like,
it's very cookie cutter.
This is every son of the cartel boss I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, they could have picked this guy straight out of Weeds, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them.
Like, I want to see what the guy's dad look like. Because I bet it's somebody that looks like that's been through war. You know what I mean?
Well, it'd be like Easy's and Reyes' dad. I mean, that's who.
Yeah, kind of like that. Kind of like Pops looks.
Yeah,
I mean, I just see a different guy. Even somebody that's.
I'll tell you this: you want the best looking current character on television right now of what this cartel leader guy is.
Stanley Trejo, right?
Is if you watch Netflix Ozark.
No, I don't know.
The head guy of season 1 is the visual epitome of what a cartel bad guy leader is. I mean, hands down. So I've seen it. You guys are working on it, but anybody else that's watched Ozark knows exactly what I'm talking about. His name is Dale, and holy crap! And so imagine Dale where he is.
Wait, his
and
name's
this game
Dale?
changes everything.
Whoa,
But see, that's the thing, though. I find that a little more scary than just than the
It is.
than the
He has
normal.
an American name that he goes by in the show. Like, trust me, it's legit, Mister. I haven't seen it. Okay,
I mean,
I
that's
haven't seen
fine,
it
but
either.
like, I just can't get past him having the name Dale.
But my thing is, Miguel, Galindo, or whatever, he's not scary at all to me.
No.
Like, at all.
he's
Like,
cheeseball to me. He's 100% cheeseball.
like I don't know. I'm not feeling him yet. But like I was saying about the talking, though, and you're right, he probably has the most dialogue of the entire show.
It's either him or the rebel leader, I would
But,
say.
I mean,
Rebel leader. She had 2 lines at the end of this movie.
what's his name?
show.
The head of the
Yeah, Bishop is the head.
Bishop. I mean, yeah, he says a couple things. Most of his sentences are about 3 words.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not seeing much yet because I guess I haven't written much for these characters. So I think what you're talking about where you don't have a characters to attach yourself to or to love yet and stuff. Hell, we haven't seen anything yet
Right.
because we can't get to know them at all. The best scene to me was putting the guy Reaper on the doctor's thing and them all making jokes about a sex change for him.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you got to know the
That's
people.
personality.
Yes.
That's
Personality is the
showing.
best to me. And I was like, oh, well, this makes total sense. You know what I mean? Like, I love that scene just because it's like, all right, well, here's the group. You know, these are the guys that
This
we're
is what they
supposed
do when
to
they're just hanging out and
attach
everything.
to. Right. This is their actual personalities. We never got that the rest of the show, other than you talk about the Coco guy, making little slight jokes and things like that. But even that got slightly old to me
Because it was just like a one-liner, then he was going and running away or something. It was like he didn't get to compound it or anything.
Right. And I'm like, anytime they were hazing Easy,
Yeah.
the prospect stuff, dig the hole, fine. Wrap the body, fine. All that stuff was
Wash
good.
the bike, it works. Yeah.
Even when Alvarez told him to wash the bike and all his homies and stuff, I'm like, dude, you're in a desert. He walks outside and all the bikes are. They're in a desert. Like, what are you going to do?
On dirt and sand. Like, I was like,
what
what?
want to be a speck of dust?
I'm like,
Wrap that in salt.
until the next 2 mile an hour wind that will blow it all over all the shit that's wet. You know, I'm just like, it just, like, some of this stuff, I'm like, it's just a little cheesy. Don't beat me over the head with it. You got good stuff. Maybe leave out some of the stuff that's repetitive.
Yeah. And I think we're going to get rid of a lot of that as the season goes on and everything.
Obviously,
It's
yeah.
an hour and 37 minutes to show us everything they could and pump in a good set hook story.
Right.
And so you have to realize that is the first episode. That's what it is. I'm willing to bet second episode, third episode is when we dive into small groups of characters, we fall in love with people and so on. And see, to me, that's just going back to me comparing it to a show that I fell in love with. And I'm already, like, okay, this isn't meeting the standard of what the other one was, but we got to give it that time. We got to give it that opportunity. Because like you said, it's still a B+ episode, A-, whatever like that. And it's still got to do a lot of setup. You got to give everybody a little sprinkle so you know what's going on and then move forward.
I don't disagree at all. I feel like this was a lot of Sons of Anarchy final season feeling to me. The
Well,
stuff
a lot
with
of drops in there. You see
the stuff with the dog,
dog,
showing
the crow.
Well, him running over the crow at the beginning was like,
Really? Like, was that much needed?
duh. Okay, we realize it's not Sons of Anarchy.
But I love the music that we had driving into it
Yeah,
with and
the opening
everything.
credits were pretty sweet.
But a lot of these like little tidbits they're thrown in there. This is all final season Sons of Anarchy as far as feel to me. You know what I mean? Just without the tension. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if we're planning on going this. We can't go scene by scene. I can't.
No,
Yeah,
like I said, it's
no.
an hour and 37, but I do want to talk about certain areas of the show that I do like and some other areas I was like, I wish they could have done it a little differently.
Right.
There's no part of the show I hated.
No.
But that's one thing I can say. Like we watch
Well,
Walking Dead.
Hold on now. There's a couple things.
Right.
Yeah,
Not
there was like
necessarily-
some tones and stuff that I guess I
There's
did.
certain things.
Right. I have plenty of things that like irritate me.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a part of the show I was like, oh, that's all bullshit. I can't believe, because like the bottom line is if you listen to our other pods like Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, you will know, like if you listen to Walking Dead, we'll spend 50% of it going, bullshit, that's terrible, blah, 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 blah,
Only
blah.
50%, huh?
If not, maybe a little more.
Maybe 80.
And so like I look at my notes and I've watched it twice and I look at it and I go, I didn't have a problem watching it a second time. If anything, I was looking for more details. I was trying to see, all those things. And there wasn't a part I was like, God, this whole thing is just wrong. I never had that feeling. So that's one thing I did appreciate about the episode. But let's talk about this. All right. They did, like I said, there's a bunch of little things. I thought the flashbacks were cool. I like how they did them. I like the visual of, the sign changing to 8 years ago.
I thought that the changing of that sign was one of the coolest things
And
I've
I
seen
love
in a
how they
while.
changed the tint of the camera. It changed to like a little bit different filter when they were doing
A little
that.
soap opera-y.
But it wasn't bad.
It wasn't
really
bad.
wasn't.
I'm not complaining.
And
But
even
I mean,
then,
I love that you say soap opera because like that plays in Mexican and Latino kind of.
But remember, that's
people
what
that you're aiming
Sons of
for.
Anarchy was.
Yeah.
It was a biker
Soap opera.
soap opera.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when they cut to the green screened or the green tint, I'm talking about where you're
Yes.
changing the view of it and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I've seen this.
Okay.
Little haze on it and stuff. I'm like, it's soap opera.
I think the main actor, the Easy like that, I think he did a great job acting for majority of the episode. I really do. I enjoyed it. There wasn't anything that was overacted. There wasn't anything really underacted. But they didn't give him a whole lot to give you either.
No.
So
No, he keeps the same
demeanor,
tone and demeanor throughout the entire thing. Whether he's in the middle of a gunfight versus, getting hazed or whatever the case may be.
Like he's
hence the
just
name, Easy. So
No, I mean, he's one character I really didn't have any problem with. One thing he says made me like spit at the television, but other than that, we'll get there.
All right. So the first big thing that happens is we get to see how the drug cartel thing works.
Thought that was fantastic.
I thought that was super creative.
Moving it in the quinceañera dresses is the coolest thing that I've ever seen in my life.
It's so Latin too. I mean,
It is.
That is just nailing you in the head with Latin culture.
I couldn't have been more excited. I was like, oh my god, we're using quinceañera dresses.
My wife and I were watching it, and it was like she says before I did, she goes, "That's genius." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and it's like a sweatshop. Like that's what I imagine. Like culturally, like that's where people work and everything.
I like the big guy. He's like, I like the kid. I mean, all this opening dialogue is really well done. So then they decide to do the they're doing protection for the run. And of course, sadly, this is where the preview kind of ruins it for you, because the preview showed you that the truck gets jacked, so you're expecting it coming. I thought that one of the dead giveaways, which I kind of had a little irk with, was the guy gets the message and they strap up to hold in.
Yeah.
Before the truck goes over. And I was kind of like, all right, so obviously there's an inside job, and before we even get told there's an inside trader we're looking for. So I was a little bit of huge breadcrumbs for anybody. But I thought the special effects were cool. I thought it was kind of random that these trucks are able to bypass the bikers, bypass everything, turn lights on, and knock this whole truck over. I mean, if you're running protection for a truck that's got this much smack in it, I just don't see that being allowed.
Yeah, like I see you being closer. I see you not letting them pass you, making them try to run you over or something. Like they didn't put up nearly enough of a fight.
Yeah, but
then they got there so delayed.
Yeah, they were
when
like
the truck
2
finally
minutes
goes
late.
over, it's like the guys.
But if you remember though, where they're talking about the different routes and stuff like that. You can't have a box truck surrounded by 4 bikers on each side because dead giveaway. There's something in the truck.
I'll give you that.
So they did it. They did it kind of like wide load ahead. So they would put themselves a few car lengths ahead, and then there are a few car lengths behind. You know what I mean? They can see the truck. If anything happens, they can get to the truck. So I was okay with where they were.
Well, I mean, but with how you're saying it, though, we didn't get there nearly fast enough.
No, the backside bikes, way too long. That took forever.
Yeah, it was off. You know what I mean?
No, that's what the editing of it was wacky.
Yeah. And so, I mean, maybe that's what it was that made it look so bad. But I was just like, my God, like we've been flipped over for 10 minutes. Like,
okay, and here's where a couple minor things I have a problem with. One guy gets out of the truck from less than 5 yards away. He misses with his handgun.
Yeah.
Misses this enormous human being. No problem. Misses him totally. That guy turns and blasts him.
Yeah, not looking or anything, just turns.
And
boom.
he goes down, right? I always hate that. Like, you have the drop on this guy, you shoot, and you totally miss.
But not only he only shot once. Like,
usually you never stop pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
So that bothered me. Okay. The rest of the stuff, fine, right with that. The truck on fire, and this was the one thing I wanted to spit the television. And he sees the guy in there still strapped in, and it's smoking and stuff like that. He runs in and says, I got you, brother. I was disgusted by that line. Disgusted by that line. I was like, ew.
It wasn't a good line. Like,
the taste in my mouth, so sour. It was awful. And I was just like, oh, please God, let that be the last time I have to hear something like that on this episode.
I think it will be.
Luckily, I think it was the last time. It almost sounded dubbed in afterwards.
It did.
A lot of the this scene was dubbed in afterwards. It
really did.
Because I think, remember all the recasting and reshooting they had to do and stuff like that. He runs in there and it just does not match up. I got you, brother. Almost like somebody else had to do his voice,
right?
Because he was unavailable or something. It was disgusting.
See, like, I didn't really like this scene at all, just because.
And then the other thing, like I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Cash. The other thing that drives me bananas is the fake fire.
Yes.
Why? The money you have, burn up this little stupid box truck. It doesn't have to explode. It doesn't have to.
No, we can just set it on fire.
Just
we don't
light
need
it on fire.
That's going to be plenty cool enough.
The deal here is that the explosion that happened at the end was completely CG.
Totally CG.
And was a huge firebomb. That is a diesel box truck.
And good thing.
As far as I know, diesel box trucks that have just a container and it's on its side, I just don't see it having a aerial firebomb. You know what I'm saying?
We're educated enough as movie and TV viewers now
How about just as Southerners who have lit bonfires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You use diesel when you want a nice slow burn.
Yeah.
Not something that's going to explode like gasoline. I'm just saying I hate CG flames. And it wasn't just the firebomb. The other fire was fake too.
No.
There was nothing.
You could tell the hole in the top of the truck or like that, totally fake. It was absolutely fake. And all that stuff, I was just like, ew. Ew. It's not necessary. You have the money, burn up the truck. You've already crashed the truck.
You're not going to be able to use it again, so just...
Well, let me tell you things I liked about the hijack. I liked the you figured it out when this whole thing was over that the goal was not to kill anybody. That was part of the deal. Because
obviously part of the deal.
Because to me, is as soon as they pull somebody out of the truck like that, if that was a real pro team, you kill anybody and everybody.
All of them. Yeah.
Like as soon as that guy comes out, bam, bam, bam. Go to the other one, bam, bam, bam. You kill the guys in the truck.
Especially assuming that they have no idea who you are.
Right. If it was a true pro team, that's what goes down. So when my first thought when the whole scene was over, I was like, man, nobody died. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand this. Not even one of the the bad guys. And I was like, okay, let's go back and look at this again. And so I really liked that the guy pulled the truck up and they used the paintball to pepper the windshield where they couldn't see. I thought that was pretty cool.
Definitely not what I expected. I expected the windshield to be getting peppered.
I thought that we were about to see two drivers get like 1,000,000 bullets.
Definitely thought the driver at least was dead. I was like, okay, this is the easiest thing.
But no, they pulled off something really cool.
And not only that, I thought it was really cool that the special effects of them shooting out the windshield and getting to see it while the truck was in motion. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't
and him
CG.
telling him eyes before he pulls the trigger. You know, protect your eyes before the glass.
All that stuff was cool, really, really well done. I really, really liked that.
Although it was useless. He shoots the hole in it.
And he still can't see anything out of it.
Crashes horribly seconds later. I was like, well, that was a waste.
Well, if you notice, he shot the hole in the middle of the windshield.
Yeah, so he couldn't even see out of it.
The console.
And you know you'd overcompensate and immediately go off the side of the road.
Exactly. That's leading to the truck being flipped.
That's leading to a bigger problem, probably.
So I did like all that. Was it too easy that he saw the tattoo on the wrist?
100%.
Okay, well, they try to, like I said, they try to hit you over the head a little bit with this about his memory and about his photographic memory about things and stuff like that. I don't want him to start having Seagal vision. I can't have it.
If he wears yellow glasses at any time, the TV's turning off.
Any yellow tinted glasses,
Seagal vision.
I don't know what they're called, but
anybody who doesn't know, back in the day, I think was it TLC? I think it was, or
one of them.
USA,
Bravo or something.
Steven Seagal had a show where he was a volunteer sheriff.
No, sworn-in deputy.
Sheriff, whatever. He wouldn't get paid for it, and they would take him on a TV show to where he would be able to identify a crime and they called it Seagal vision, where he would wear yellow glasses at night. At night, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, not to mention there would be a gun literally laying right in the open that any homeless person could stumble across, and they would go and like zoom in on it and like do some sci-fi stuff. Seagal vision. He spots the gun. I'm like, yeah, I tripped over that 3 seconds ago, Steve. Anyway,
over here, Steve.
I don't want that to happen in the future. The photographic memory stuff. Okay, maybe that'll come into play at some point. I've heard of it before. I know some people that have it.
I've seen some few TV shows with it, but man.
Please don't fresh this too much.
Like, I thought we were about to watch an episode of Monk. Like it was about to get highlighted and everything.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. All right. So, overall, again, the truck thing, the takeover. You see the tattoo. I get all that. They have to kneel. They don't shoot anybody. I just thought.
See, I just hated how bad the Mayans got punked. I was like, if this is supposed to be a big bad bike gang, why are we losing this interrogation process?
I think they did that only to show later on in the cemetery that they're still badasses. But even then,
and we lost out to the drug lord guy. Or to the cartel, I guess. Like, he was just like, we don't... It was like, no, you work for me. And it was like, oh, my God. Like, our president twice has just been showed down in front of his entire crew.
Bitch, I own you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, this is the saddest thing in the world.
Yes, this is what I'm worried about. Because, we just spent a lot of time on literally the opening scene. And the episode's too long to do this. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
So I want us to hit the high points and like the low points where we have issues and things like that. But it's tough on an opening episode to not try to explain too much.
Yeah, it is. Well,
And-
that was a key to me. That opening scene was key to the episode.
Well, no, that's
Yeah.
the igniting event that leads to the rest of the episode.
Correct. And then, of course, we were just perusing through. We get the whole deal where there's 4 of them. They go to Mexico. There's a bag exchange. He happens to run into the kid who steals the corn. It also happens to be the girl who's the leader of the
I don't
rebellion.
think any of that was
that
happening,
right there.
Okay.
Shit burns me up.
Here's number 2.
Those huge coincidences burn me up.
There is massive coincidences.
So y'all are seeing this as coincidence. I was seeing this as planned.
No.
Oh yeah.
To me, him having to watch a kid steal corn, fall, go over it, pay it, and that kid happened to be with the head of the resistance.
Adelita, whatever her name is.
And that's why I was thinking she was testing him and everything to see if she would get him out of trouble.
Not how I saw it.
No,
Not at all.
Oh,
not
man.
even close.
An even bigger coincidence is his ex-girlfriend being across the street
Okay, yeah.
with his child, as far as I'm
not his child.
There's no way because it was
It's not
8
his
years
child.
ago.
It was 8 years ago. But hold on. 8 years ago, but then it's a later flashback that shows him at the prison. You don't know the time frame there.
And he got out in
True.
6 years, didn't he?
I don't remember
but
them
still,
saying
that baby was less than 3 years old. That
Yeah.
is
No,
not
that,
his kid.
That baby's one tops.
Right. So either way it goes, that's not his.
Yeah.
I think the reason they showed that something that that sonogram, the baby, all that stuff like that, to show I'm making a decision. She had an abortion. Thus, unless they're going to surprise us
Might have
later.
been a miscarriage as well or something.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I don't think that's his
But
kid.
the second huge coincidence, I think you were headed towards the odds of the Galindo. Miguel Galindo is now with her and has a
Good
child,
grief.
and he's the prospect.
And what? She's just like super into Latin dudes. Like,
I mean, she's working in Mexico.
Oh well, she speaks fluent, and you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Denzel Washington's movie where he
Out
was
of
the
Time?
bodyguard.
Oh no,
Man on Fire?
Man on
Man
Fire.
on Fire. Remember, there was the
so good.
I mean, talking about the best Denzel.
amazing.
That's my number one Denzel movie.
So good.
Wow, so many good ones.
Yeah.
But that reminds me, it's almost like, okay, big time, somebody in Mexico, married to a white chick, has a child, da-da-da-da, that's, is it cliche, or is it just, to me, it was super, super,
The cliche is way overshadowed by the coincidence.
Yes.
I mean, the coincidence of all of this sequence is like, what? No.
Was it? And how? What's the age gap between Easy and Reyes? It doesn't look like to be like that much, right?
Reyes.
That's his brother, isn't it?
Angels.
Angel, my bad. I don't know why I thought.
I'd say Angel's maybe 5 years old.
5, yeah, I was going to say maybe
So I mean,
5.
like he should presumably know that they dated. Maybe
We don't know what happened yet. He killed a cop or something. We're going to
Yeah.
get that flashback, obviously.
Yeah, we're going to get more to it. It's
But I mean,
just
like I'm saying,
the
like,
two
this-
hugest coincidences ever is that he happens to run into the leader of resistance, and his ex-girlfriend is with Galindo.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just like, there you go, viewer. Take it, take it bad.
Just take this coincidence right to the starfish. Because whatever. I'm going to let it slide. Like I said, before we started this podcast, I said I was just going to give this show a chance. You know, I'm not going to chainsaw it to death because it literally is the first episode, and I don't want to kill it. I've just explained the two major things that crushed me in this episode. The awful, I got you, brother, CG fire. We'll throw that in there. So from both of those in that one sequence. And then the coincidence. That's my two massive issues.
The things I effing loved is I loved meeting the Samoans. Thought that was a cool character addition.
They added a new
group we never heard of before.
another, race of people that
Makes sense.
once again are kind of undershown in television and stuff like that, as far as their cultures and things like that. Really cool. The first thing you see, Cash's little brother on the phone. Cash's little brother making a call.
Right,
like,
yeah, let's Cash.
I mean,
that guy was a lot more athletic than Cash. See how he came down the stairs quick?
he did have a wife beater on. Much more impressive stature.
Fair enough. Like, yeah, I have better hair. He's got me and everything else.
Oh,
Like,
my
Yes.
God.
I'll give you the locks.
I'll
I'll
give you the locks. But, but I thought the cemetery was amazing. I think it was the coolest set piece of the entire episode.
yes.
I think the cemetery is super badass. I think that was like a really neat way of doing it and stuff like that.
But there's a lot of flops in
there's
this.
a lot of machine gun fire and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, is there a police officer within 10 miles of this place?
Well, I mean, it's like,
It's World War III at the cemetery.
we're able to just have people standing in the middle of cemeteries with automatic rifles. This is
you know
the
what?
thing.
They do explain that. They called it a DMZ. They said the police never go in there except to collect bodies. So that's okay. I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
I'll give it to them.
I remember that.
The shooting, or they actually
He's like,
do
in
say
the-
that.
He says at that table, he goes, and they're going to know you're there before you even get there.
Yeah, no, I had no
they do
problem
all
with that.
that stuff like that. Like I said, the cemetery was badass. I loved Alpha. I've seen that guy before.
Seen him before. He's not 6'6".
No, he may be wide, anyway, or round. You know,
Did he say? You know what? He actually said 6x6. He didn't say
Okay,
6'6". So I think that is what he said. He's
Yeah.
a big square.
because he's a big old fellow. And I remember when I saw him, he was in the original. God, was it Mortal Kombat? No, you know, it was a fighter show. You know, remember Van Damme was in it.
Bloodsport.
No, good God, I'm not. I'll remember it when it's too
Okay,
late.
yeah,
You know, when there was Beast and Saban and
Oh, Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. That's it. Yeah, he was in Street Fighter.
Oh, he was E Honda.
Yeah, Hondo.
Wow.
That's good.
Yes, I have a steel trap memory. Yes. I am easy.
Yeah, down easy. Yeah.
So anyway, so I love this. I love the dialogue too. You know, like, you know,
If I don't see taillights in 2 minutes,
Some of the dialogue, like I like that part.
yeah.
that's what I love the
Well, I
trash
thought
talk.
the Samoans.
I wish he
played-
would have said, "I better see taillights in 2 minutes."
Yeah.
I don't like the part where he says, "Or Mayan bodies be dropping," or something like that. I'm like,
It's like,
a
why?
little of the douche chills. I was just like, ooh, I like the taillight line. Mayans bodies be dropping. Ooh. Not as much, okay? Like I said, I didn't want to nitpick, but I'm just saying there's some
I
stuff.
did like that the guy goes, "We're outnumbered 12-7. I like this.
Yeah, there's
You know?
a smart
There
guy.
was some like they
That's
used
the
soft-
Chibs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
That's the Chibs character saying,
yeah, that's your seasoned veteran that knows, you know, plans like that. I thought it was random that the van could drive around to get behind the Samoans. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, and I
know,
thought it was
well, then
weird
pull
that he
right
could,
back to them with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
load of guns.
To
Well,
me,
then it was like, hey, no one focus on the van with all of the heavy artillery. Just let them run up to it and get what they need. No, don't worry.
But once again, that's another issue. And this is not just this show. This is many,
Yes.
many shows. It's every action movie of all time almost. The dude's got the drop on Angel. He's firing an AK at him. Can't hit him. Can't hit him. From what, 20 yards? And he's just peppering all over the grass all around him. And then Easy runs over there. I gotta help Angel. He doesn't get shot either.
no.
So now we have a bigger target.
yeah, we have a much larger painted
Yeah,
target.
just shoot at the black stuff.
And it takes him forever to lift
No,
him up and everything. Angel's not even really trying to get up or anything.
He's like
just
balling up like a bear's attacking him. And he gets him out of it, and then they go get machine guns and stuff. And I'm just like,
and
all right, you know, I'll let it go. You know, I'm just saying, like, this is an error that not just the show that
no, it's made in every action.
it's
scene.
in every action movie there is. It's the stormtrooper effect. They can't hit shit, you know. And so this is Coco, right?
Yes,
with
Coco with the scope.
the scoped rifle.
Can we get out of scope shots because they're
No.
just terrible?
Keep the scope shot if you want. If I see CG blood, I piss on it.
I like the scope shot. I thought it was cool that he got up and shot stuff.
The scope shot is cool. Like I said, I don't have a problem with that at all. But use
Real blood. Well,
real
not real
squibs.
blood,
Yeah,
but
you put some real-
squibs.
Yeah.
Use it's so much better. It just looks so much better. You can tell Walking Dead made this huge mistake, you know, of switching over to CGI blood spatter and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look right. It just doesn't work. It's just like CG fur until a couple years ago. Like, it looks terrible.
you can't do fur. It's just way too expensive and everything. Just stick with.
Just do the squibs. The practical effect, way cheaper, and looks better.
Yeah.
I know. I'll never understand why they don't just.
Because you can't control it, but like, who cares if you can control where blood splatter goes? Like, it's not important. We just want to see
It'll
it.
be different every single time you shoot something.
Yep.
That's exactly how it should be. You know, a bullet doesn't travel 100
Perfect.
straight line. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
let
gonna
it
hit things
spatter all
different.
over the place. Who cares?
Exactly. Like, if you have to do an extra shot, cool. Do the extra shot. It's going to pay off in the end.
It makes sense to make the CG bullet entry wound
Yes.
because that makes sense as far as the editing. You could just throw the hole there, but you need a squib on the back of the head for the burst out.
Yeah.
The exit wound
Make it
should be a
legit.
squib. Make it
legit.
look good.
Make it legit.
Watch The Town.
Oh my God.
The Town.
Yeah.
When Jeremy Renner gets shot up, that's what bullet holes and stuff ought to look like.
Now, I'm going to give you props on this one because I love when they did Alpha. When they took his arm off and all that stuff like that. I really like this stuff. The CG arm was a little rough when it fell to the to the next level. You know what I mean?
But the thud it made.
The thud and the juicy sound. You know, all that stuff.
It's just like the thud doesn't match the weight of the thing falling. Like, just because it's CG. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking at it and it's like, it doesn't fall naturally. It doesn't look right when it falls. So it's like, when you hear the thud, you're like, it's fake on fake on fake. You know what I mean? Whatever. A nice Foley artist went in there and was like, you know what I mean? It made the sound. I like what happened.
I like what happened.
I thought it was cool.
And did they use a machete?
Yes, I saw him grab it from behind or like that.
The strength on this man to cut off that arm with the one clean sweep.
I mean,
you could do it though. You
can do it, but it was to me it was badass. I wish the ropes were a little tighter to make it look like he actually had a tourniquet. But that's picky. But I love the concept. That's something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I think about.
I just like that he followed through with it.
Yeah.
That they went through with it. Now this is a common cartel practice, macheteing people, dismembering people and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is good source material, learning from actual events.
I'm worried about your health, brother.
This is a bad way to drop weight.
Bad way to drop another 40 pounds. I'm like, if that forearm and hand weighed 40 pounds, this is a gigantic human being.
Oh, yeah. He is a gigantic human being, though.
I did like the writing on that stuff. I liked some, like I said, that was good. Didn't much care for Pino delivering it, but...
That's the thing, is the guy delivering it makes me crazy. The yellow jacket he's wearing, I didn't like.
No.
This isn't it.
None of this stuff is like taking me out of the scene or anything like that. It's just like, I wish they'd have done different with that. You know what I mean? I'm just like... Just little minor decisions that they could have maybe altered or something like that may have been better or may have been worse. Don't know.
What I thought was awesome is the reactions they show of everybody when it happens.
Yeah, everybody's like...
everybody in unison was like, oh yeah. Shit, man.
Well, one guy even puts his arm in his jacket.
Well, because it happened so quick. We knew it was going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. You don't even get to see the guy raise up.
No.
And do anything. It's just suddenly looking, and he's like, he nods the head, and you're like, what's going on? And holy shit, it's gone. I love that. They don't set you up for it.
Now, it doesn't have the same impact, obviously, because we were raised up massively. But I like what you're talking about, how you don't see the guy coming with the slice or like that. But when Jaime's hand in Game of Thrones is removed, it's so just all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so, holy shit.
Because his hand was there and everything, but then all of a sudden, it was just the axe or the sword was in the stump.
Blade, and he pulls the blade up, and he's like, that's not attached anymore.
Yeah, it was like a hatchet or something that he used.
Yeah, but it came down off screen, so you weren't prepared for it.
Yeah, and it just sticks. Remember, it just sticks in the wood. Just goes,
and you're just like,
and he just picks his hand up.
Did that really happen?
And remember, it goes straight to that punk, Irish music right after it happens and stuff like that. I felt like this
did very close to that.
Was close to that, but instead of going to punk music, it went to their reactions.
Yes,
of getting queasy and shit, not me.
And to me, him tying the other arm up, I was like, oh my god! And so I had this anticipation of, are we going to see the other arm go down?
Thing was, once I saw him blinking out,
yeah,
he was clearly passing out and dying. I was like, they don't even need to cut off the other arm.
But is there a reason why?
I was really happy they didn't, and he died from exsanguination, because that was real. Because if he was sitting there still talking and being jolly, and just I was going to be like, oh man.
Well, I was waiting for him to say hey, cauterize the wound so he doesn't die. But then I was like, oh no, we're just letting this guy die.
Yeah, they're just letting him die. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't let him go back. You just kidnapped and killed a bunch of their dudes. I mean, we're going to take them back.
Maybe, just leave him there. But,
all right, so.
But is there a reason? Well, before we leave, I want. Because he didn't look at him chop off the arm. He made sure he wasn't looking at it. Is there a reason?
Because he can't handle it?
Galindo?
Yeah.
He turned his back to
he made sure he didn't see it.
Turned the yellow jacket to it.
No, he turned around.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at his face when you see the arm get taken off in
he
the background.
gives the nod, and then he does a 180 to make sure he doesn't see it.
Yeah, I know. The jacket doesn't fully cover his front. I thought he turned around just to make sure no spatter hit him.
Okay, I can go with that. I can go.
I mean,
with
they clearly make him wear a big, bright yellow jacket.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're either in Breaking Bad or this is just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean, I didn't know if it was a thing like maybe he just couldn't handle blood, or like we just thought there was a deeper meaning. But if it's to keep the clothes clean,
I mean, they make a big deal about knowing that he's going to eat dinner with the coincidence of coincidences.
Yes.
So
with this family.
that's all I took it as, is that
Okay.
he was just turning around so he doesn't get any spatter on him.
What y'all think of Robert Scott being the group of the head of the SOA that comes and helps him at the end of the cemetery scene?
I thought his face looked like it had been like a piece of Play-Doh dropped on the floor.
Yeah, I mean,
I was waiting for like some
Robert
cat
Scott,
hair to be hanging off of it or
It
something.
looks like
he's pretty old and
it
weathered.
looks like
at
the
this
motorcycle been riding over his face. I mean, it was, oh my Lord.
I don't know what's left of his face because at
This-
least they
remember,
kept the
this
shades
used
on.
to be T-1000 off of Terminator 2.
I
ladies and
know.
gentlemen. Put that in perspective. That guy was T-1000.
Now he's Mr. Potato Head. I can't. And the potato has
No,
melted
dude.
a little bit in the sun.
He's
Don't
what
watch
Rocky's
Scorpion.
face should look like.
Yeah, that, you know what? That kind of. You ever seen those old pictures of boxers? You know,
Oh yeah,
where they just look like a swollen, tenderized meat piece. You know, I'm just like,
It's grandma's meatloaf and pale skin.
it ain't good.
no,
It ain't good.
it's like he's the old hanging slab of meat and just attached to the face. Now.
And I like his joke, all wrapped up in some tortillas and a white bread sandwich.
Yeah. Samoan sandwich.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Samoan gang's name? Beige Town.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess that's their skin tone. Beige.
I mean, I don't know. Not a fan of the name.
No.
Whatever.
You know, the one thing about the Alpha and all them is that if this was a group, so it's like, did it bother anybody that like they didn't look like they matched? I mean, he had short hair, was in a red maroon T-shirt. No,
that's what I'm saying.
or gray.
They're
like
not going
the other
to.
guys that rolled up, they didn't all. I mean, like most of them looked like they were Samoan or like that or so. But there wasn't like they weren't all wearing the same colors. It wasn't like what you saw with the other biker gangs that had same jackets, same motorcycles, same other thing. This was all something completely different.
No, because that's what I'm
didn't bother
saying.
me.
You're thinking about it differently because I don't think of Samoan culture being, and my God, I'm such a layman on this, but I don't see them as like copycat style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even in the Niners, you know what I mean? They were all that black and red and stuff like that, and I mean it was like everybody else had matching colors and everything. So I think they went away with that on purpose.
Okay,
Yeah,
it
I would
didn't
say-
bother me.
yeah.
I just thought it was unique that it didn't have it.
I think it would be more of like a tattoo or something to show that you're in the gang for the
Which they
Samoan.
show.
Which they
Yeah.
show you,
Yeah, the
and so on.
BTT thing.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's more important than any kind of uniform or anything for them.
Yeah, I mean,
If I was having to guess. And so, it didn't bother me. I hardly even noticed that they weren't necessarily coordinated or anything.
yeah.
Okay, so the two big reveals in the last 30 minutes of the episode. Let's just kind of get towards the end of this. Is that we find out that Angel and company, which I think anybody was watching the show kind of figured out the whole bag swaparoo, and they said it ended up with Alpha stuff because
Well-
the bag was so distinctive.
Well, they kept focusing on the bag, so we knew the bag had something to do with the stuff. I didn't know immediately that it had to do with the fact that Angel and a couple of the other guys were working for Rebels.
Right. Of course, it all adds up when you see that these are the same two guys that strapped in the truck, got the message, knew the truck was going to get jacked, knew that it weren't, because they came out and they didn't come out in guns blazing or nothing like that.
Yeah.
And then the one of them is the one who takes the bag and drives away solo, and that's the pay up you're paying off. And then all that is, all comes out in the end. So the big reveal is that, okay, the girl Easy ran into, coincidence, big time, is the leader of the rebels, and these three now with four of Easy are helping them out. And then, of course, the next big reveal is that Easy is an informant for the cops.
On a plea deal.
Which we already knew because when he went into the shop with his...
The very beginning.
You see the DEA badge in his wallet. I don't know if y'all caught that or not.
No, I saw that, but I'm literally talking about when Easy drops off the original package to his dad and it has all that writing on it. It's like, oh, well, duh. He's clearly dropping information, and Dad's the middleman.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, this makes sense. So You end up thinking that is going to be the big fly in the ointment.
But no.
But then they add on the Rebel thing with Angel and stuff like that.
I mean, we had like 4, I guess you can say, major twists in the episode. It was just like, man.
Well, it's setting it up for where Angel is Opie, of Sons of Anarchy. Kind of way, like the best friend's brother and whatever you do, that kind of stuff, and I'm going to follow you. It's, it's the closest thing I can say to it. But, and so now he has to make the choice of, his deal is to get to the Glendo cartel. Well, now he's working with the people who are trying to destroy the Glendo cartel. That's going against what the cop and plea deal is. Mm-hmm. But then also he is a rat, and so if he gets found out so he's going against his own deal at the same time and trying to save his brother as well as do his.
Yeah, see, I feel like that's the issue, is the fact that he's
between rock and a hard place.
He's working with the DEA under the deal that nothing happens to the Mayans to protect his brother, because he tells the DEA guy,
right,
I can't wait to be done with this so I can get out of this and the Mayans and go back to my life. He doesn't want to be in the Mayans either.
No.
He wants out, but he wants to protect his brother who's not going to be out. So he's doing that. Now his brother has gotten him into another issue with the rebels and stuff like that. So now he has a twofold problem.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because...
Well, now he's not going to be able to necessarily protect the Mayans because his brother is looking to be the Mayans by the end of this.
Right, and now his brother...
It's made a power play.
Yeah.
It's kind of made a power play, yeah. And is already making comments about how Bishop is leading them in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So...
And he's already got a following.
A lot of writing on the wall.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So I put on social media and I said, hey, it delivered, and Sutter has created the greatest conundrum as he always does. And that's what the episode is. It's created the conundrum of how in the hell you get out of this hole.
Well, he created the tension that's going to follow this whole season. This is all the stuff with Juice secretly doing these things, and Jack secretly making deals to get out of the guns business, and
right.
There's all these little things that people are trying to make plays in the background, and some of them are undermining the club and some of them aren't. And so it's like, okay, you've now created where the tension will be, for the rest of the season. And that's cool. And hopefully there's more seasons, obviously, but I think they've created a neat,
it's a nice blueprint.
Good guy, bad guy scenario here. And I look forward to it. Like I said,
I'm really looking forward to the season and everything. It's 10 episodes?
Yeah, it's 10 episodes.
I really... The reshooting and the recasting and stuff is scary and good in some ways. Recasting usually means like, hey, they've watched this, tested this, and it was just terrible, and they had to redo this stuff.
Which I trust it, because if you remember, was it Sam Elliott was the original, and they replaced him with Ron Perlman? And could you imagine Ron Perlman or anybody else playing Ron Perlman's role in Sons of Anarchy?
No.
Not really. But I'm just saying, like, it could be dangerous for, like I said, like him going in there and saying, I got you, brother. That sounded dubbed. The scene was wonky when he's cutting him out of there and stuff like that. I hope there's not too much of that. And I hope that we get more scenes like Reaper on the doctor's table, where we can actually learn the characters' names by heart, know who they are, know their personalities, so we can get attached to them. I have to get attached to the characters to stick with the show. If I don't have any kind of attachment, I don't have the involvement I want.
True. Absolutely.
I mean, I hope we get a few more, like the round table scenes. I thought that was really cool and everything. I love that they put the cell phones outside again and everything.
I mean, it's all classic stuff. Yes. They had to make a cool table for it. They did a good job.
And that's the stuff that matters and stuff. And I mean, those are going to be set pieces that last. Put as much as we can into them and give us a lot of those scenes, because that's going to give us a lot of the razzing and the hazing and stuff that we want.
We didn't talk about the fact that we got to see what's her name,
Gemma
for a second.
Is there any reason why we have Gemma?
No, I think it was just a way of saying, "Hey, Sons of Anarchy fans, we hadn't forgot about you." I tried showing a little bit of a connection.
I tried to remember
what she would have been in prison there.
Who was she there to see? Jax?
No.
When was he in there the same time Jax was in there?
Who was the guy who had the one eye? The Otto. You remember they always went and drove off to go visit Otto in prison? That was the most current guy
But
always...
Gemma wasn't going to see Otto. It was always one of the guys going to see Otto.
I mean, I guess we could have said Gemma was just there to see Otto, but
We don't know the time frame yet, I guess is what's going on. We
we don't know how far away
this
this
is. Also,
is.
a Southern California prison, and Charming and all Jim, all that stuff like that is Northern California. So, I mean, like, I think it's truly just a way of saying, this is Sons of Anarchy continued. This is a way of sprinkling in. Look, the bottom line is that Alvarez was in there, which was phenomenal. He was awesome the whole time.
Sandino, he calls him, and you realize that's the northern chapter for Sons of Anarchy.
I love all that, and and throwing Jim in there, the crow and the dog, all the little drops that give you that Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I mean, paying
feel and
homage to
touch.
Son of our Anarchy, they crushed.
Yeah,
I think we're still going to get some more.
Oh, I think we're going to get a lot more.
Drop-ins.
I really think so. I really feel like they gave us some sprinkle. We're going to see how it goes. Just a little bit of seasoning. But when we get to the main course, I would not doubt for a hot second that we're going to get some of the big ones to come mix in a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to see
Give me Chips for an episode.
Chibs and Tig.
Give me Tig.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to because the Mayans
Happy.
is so small. Like, we
Happy
don't
for a
have nearly
second.
enough people for the power plays that they want to make. Especially if you want to get rid of some of the
like I
people.
said, the episode did really good of showing you that, hey, we got to see several different chapters of bike gangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And who went nomad? Remember, there were some guys that went nomad.
Well, there was a few that went, and then some came back.
Was Rat a nomad? Did he go nomad? I don't know. Well, I'm saying that could be easy characters
to roll
because
back into it.
they just roll up the whatever they needed. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that could be a way of bringing in old characters too. So
Right. There's no doubt. I mean, the other thing is, too, is you got to imagine, even though, like, characters who died in Sons of Anarchy, technically they can't move on because this is supposed to be set after Jax's death, is my understanding.
it has to be.
Because the only way you can have Gemma is if it's a flashback from way back when. So, I don't. You guys think about it, and that's such a sad thing because, like, I wouldn't mind seeing like Roosevelt, the cop that was a ball buster for the Charming area, somehow mix into like he pulls a car over and you get a little shot of him or something like that.
Or who was the one that worked with them?
Unser.
Unser.
Yeah, that would be
great.
cool. As a young Unser or whatever, something of that nature. I'd be awesome to see some drops like that.
I don't think we're gonna get too much of them.
No,
But I could see people like Chibs, who I'm not sure what he's doing. Tig, no idea what he's doing as far as career wise right
Yeah.
now.
Probably waiting for a call for Mayans. I mean, that's all we can hope for.
It's what we pray and hope for.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, I
there.
don't see why it's not possible to bring them in. Chibs was made president. Tig was sergeant at arms after that. You know what I mean? It was like, and the rest of the people were,
all good.
happy. And the randos, like the big guy and Rat and all them and stuff like that. So it's like, bring them back. They're not doing anything.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, the more they bring in to cross in, the better. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Also something else I want to encourage you guys to do is if you're listening to us, get into these Facebook groups and Twitter. I want to drop a few names that have really, really kind of inspired us to be a part of this show. Mm-hmm. Originally, when we got into Sons of Anarchy, an awesome girl named Angie on Sutter Files. That's a huge Twitter group that runs. It's a fan group for Kirk Sutter. If you're not following her on Twitter, on that handle, it's like that, getting all the latest information you need to. There's also a couple of the groups that are on Facebook. One of the big ones that we get a lot of love and pub for is Sons of Anarchy. It's the Addicts, Sons of Anarchy and Mayans Addicts. That is a great Facebook group, and like there's previously there's a fans. I mean, we're on 6 of them, and they're all really, really good. And so if you're a diehard fan like we are, and really want this show to be successful, you need to dive into some of those social media groups. They do a really good job. They give some really good content. They don't do a lot of BS. They're open to good opinions, and they've opened their arms to us, and we want y'all to know about it as well. You can always reach us as well. We're on BleedTV Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook as well.
Gmail, YouTube.
That's right. It's BleedTV Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to email us privately, we get a lot of emails and a lot of different things. We're
on Spotify now, right?
Yeah, we are on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. We're on Instagram. We're going to share it everywhere. And so, if you're listening to us, do us a huge favor. If you enjoyed what you're talking about and you're going to listen to us this season for some of the shows like that, tell your friends. If you can give us a review on iTunes, a positive one, you share a link, whatever it is, it would would be a huge help to us. We want this show to be successful. We really enjoy the storytelling. I mean, I've always been a huge fan from The Shield, Sons of Anarchy, Bastard Executioner, all these things, you know, and we've been with them all. And so we really want this show to keep going and be strong. So the more you sell for us, the more we're going to be able to help the show, and that's a mutual respect. So I think that's all we're going to get for tonight. What do you think, guys?
Yeah,
I
sounds
think
good.
so.
Again, we really appreciate it. And guys, make sure you tune in next week. But this is BleedTV, and I'm Zach.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
We'll catch you then.